this for the, yeah, she'll keep track of the comments. Yeah, I'm gonna all go off script anyway. Very quickly. Can we start?
Don't forget the mic.
Oh yeah. God damn. Don't forget the spritz. And your vape. Ah. Okay, so the recording is gonna be on a laptop?
Yeah, and also you can see it from Instagram later.
No, I'm just curious where the audio quality is the highest.
It's the same, it's from the mic.
Oh, so everyone on stream hears this now.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. That's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we want. Oh, annoying. I forgot we're still live. Okay, cool. ChatGPT. Hey, what's the account? Can you send me who won?
Like the TikTok.
Yeah, the best question from last week. Now we're gonna give a new cadeautje. Luna gets to decide what it is. Not too crazy though. Don't be like a dinner for 4.
This one.
Yeah, just send me on WhatsApp. I have my phone now.
Which number? Because I never.
Am I live? I'm live, right?
Yeah. Wait, I'm gonna check the file here.
Yeah, keep track. Okay, cool. Do we hear anything?
Yeah, it's from your mic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. But then someone that edits has to really start from this point.
I'm
Right.
just cutting a few seconds, minutes.
Okay, what is up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of After Work Yappings, episode 3. Tonight we're gonna talk about anything and everything regarding market research and target audience selection. We're a little bit, well, we're actually not that much delayed. Last week we were much delayed. Today we did a switcheroo. Teddy is taking a night off. Luna's here sipping on her Aperol Spritz. Tell people hi.
Hello, everyone.
Here's your mic, by the way. Don't drop it in your Aperol Spritz, please. All the way around.
I'll try.
That's the mic side, yes.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Do people hear you? You can clip it on your collar.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So Luna's gonna take the comments, the questions, and anything in between. Basically, like every other week, save the most pressing questions to the end. Obviously, if there's a question that really relates to that we have to dive in a little bit deeper on certain subjects or elaborate a little bit more on certain items we talked about, then obviously you can ask them. But if it's just a general question or very specific questions, we do them always to the end. And also, last week's winner, so we do give away, to get the show a little bit started, for the interactiveness. She sent me the wrong name, the wrong account, bruh.
Oh, damn.
It's fine. There is someone who won the 2 times all-you-can-eat dinner for 100 euros from last week. Luna, what's a nice giveaway for this week's best question of the night?
For this week,
Don't go too crazy. We're not Santa Claus.
maybe also like all you can eat dinner for 2 people.
Again?
And, but with a couple free drinks.
You up the ante?
Yeah.
Be more organic, original.
I don't know. I'm not the best original person, but
Okay, what's the one thing you wanna get?
one thing I want to get. Oh, I always get Pokeball here.
Okay.
I love it.
So, okay, for the best question, you can do takeaway or a la carte
Ooh,
Pokeball here with 1 cocktail each.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
it's gonna be 2 Pokeballs
That's
plus
great.
2 cocktails. So 2 Pokeball, 2 cocktails, right? Can you note
Yeah.
that down?
Yeah, I'm noting that down.
So we remember what the giveaway is. So those who pose the best question, do you see the question coming in?
There is only one question I got so far, which is when is the mukbang?
Interesting. Friday we have another mukbang. This afternoon we already did one. It was a little bit more ASMR. So we really had the mic over here and then we did a time lapse. So the season 2, we're gonna do way more angles. Other POVs. We're gonna really start to think about multi-streaming. Thanks to Luna, we were now streaming at least with
3 platforms.
3 platforms.
Yes.
So eventually we'll obviously extend to more platforms when we figure it out. But for now it's 3, which is better than using 3 phones. What we did before.
We're kind of using 3 phones. now,
Almost. But we got one phone and well, I mean, YouTube is new. We didn't
Yeah,
stream on
is
YouTube.
new.
So we're still on Instagram, TikTok, now on YouTube. One step at a time. For those who are recently joining, why we do the after work yappings, basically it's a nice opportunity for us to engage with our community, share everything we've learned, talk about war stories from the past, reminisce, nostalgia, get some clarities about anything and everything regarding business, personal branding, getting started with your hobby, your side hustle, whatever it may be, and we'll just basically go off anecdotal experiences, but also our observations, analysis from anything that's been discussed online or through courses which we have followed and narrowly. And so now you get a little bit lore about Gaisha as well and how we started things. So why do we say, so to dive in immediately, without further ado, or is someone saying stuff?
Nope.
Nothing
it's
really?
silent.
Okay. So without further ado, let's just really get dived in. And gonna always, we always start off with a little anecdotal story. Because last week we kind of talked about community and culture. It's gonna be something that is gonna be discussed here today as well, later stadium. So, little bit background information. In the heyday of 2013, our location Tilburg was doing really well. So well, we thought like, hey, this is time for us to expand. Because we could manage one location. We did have a unique concept, very unique recipe, and a whole different model from what was happening back then. Had a very strong team, big enough team, we realized we can split them in 2 to get things started, which we did. And we're gonna talk about team in 2 episodes, but it's a crucial component for us to extend. I'm sure people are here maybe watching later or now that don't have anything yet, and we're gonna talk about this. But we're just gonna start out of a story and then we're gonna dive in different modes of getting started or doing your market research and selecting your target audience. So, as always, we look to the market what's close for us, because we knew we had to divide ourselves, because we have one location going on, second location must be in a radius of half an hour drive or at least maximum 40 or 50 minutes drive, because otherwise if there's an emergency it doesn't make sense because we can't get there fast enough. Mind you, this is our first time extending beyond one business. For those who never started any business, it is a risk and it is scary, because just because you, like those who are parents kind of get this, you already have one kid, but when you add the second kid, the real challenge just starts, because now they go different opposite sides. Let's say if you go out for dinner and they are so different each, although they all come from you. So in that sense, it's like getting a second child, because now you're like very comfortable as a parent to the first child. You know what to do, you know like its likes or dislikes or the tendencies, behavior, everything you have like on lock because history, because of time. But the second one, it's a very much a question mark, because you have obviously read books, heard about podcasts, self-help, tutorials, whatever it may be, but nothing can prepare you than real life examples. Here is the same thing. So it's one thing to think you're ready for it. It's another thing when you're actually expanding and start to open. And obviously that can be another topic for another day. So you guys can vote in the comment like if you want to hear that. When you know when to extend and when to like take a step back or take a step forward. Basically product extension or opening different locations. But regarding this, 2013-14, we knew it has to be close by. What do? Several things you can do. So that's why I start with this example. You could drive around those cities you're aiming for that are close by within your radius. That makes sense. Now we know, we talked about culture, and it's a subject we're gonna dive in a little bit later as well. Brabant is Brabant, at least that was in my mind. My mind was, and there goes the self-belief and self-knowledge compared to what's actually real. And that's why this subject is kind of important not to miss and really dive in more thoroughly than you would expect. So in my mind, everything below the river is Brabant, but the closer you're to the river, more tendency you will have with the cities above the river. Those who are not from the Netherlands, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But just think, Brabant is more like a rural area because the beginnings were really rural. And some might compare like mostly like farmers or like workers, industrial workers. Whereas above the river, especially Rotterdam, Amsterdam, Den Haag, Utrecht, they are known for their white collar work, industrialism, service industry, more forward looking, more trend looking. And you guys can kind of notice when you are there, right? When you are in these cities. So in my mind, everything below the river, Brabant, rural, kind of similar. And so we were aiming, because we were in Tilburg, we were aiming for Eindhoven, Den Bosch, Breda. These are the 4 big cities. I know there are way more cities and people will get like offended that I don't mention your city, but let's be honest, you guys don't really count. It's not big enough. At least, well, for us. So now it depends on what your criteria are for opening a new location. And we're going to talk about this in a moment. But for us, we wanted something with enough local population, because you need daily traffic, but you also need enough, let's say, how do you say, inland tourism? That's a term, right? So you know, the basic city between cities. So not like actual tourists from other countries.
Interland or something like that.
Interland or whatever maybe.
Yeah.
You guys know what
maybe inside the country.
Yeah, you can ask ChatGPT in the meantime. I'm gonna, by the way, you don't know this. During the stream, I will sometimes ask you to ask ChatGPT to search these things up.
Sure.
So meanwhile, Luna's gonna search that term up. Basically, there is daily traffic. You need daily traffic, and you need any traffic that is out of the city, but so I call them inland traffic. So not only will you be full or busy through the week, but also you have enough coverage during the weekends. You very much need to specify how big your location is. Because we knew a mode of operations from Tilburg, we searched something similar. You approach realtors that are in this industry, and yes, they are realtors that operate in your certain niche or domain, but also feel free to, so that's one, so you contact them directly. They will ask a commission, like a finder's, wow, do they? Let me think. Some do actually, some don't, so that depends. Some do ask a finder's fee. That's a thing I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Remind me about the finder's fee. Yeah, some don't charge you for the finder's fee, but charge those who sell the company or the location. So they'll take a percentage of the sale of the business from those who put it on sale. So you don't pay nothing, but the seller pays stuff. And then you have your own research. Basically, you drive around the city, you walk around in the city, you'll see signs, posters, on sale, for sale. And then, but get back to the story. That's the thing I always do. I always go off on a tangent and forgot the main. But let's get back to the story. So, we very much wanted to be in Eindhoven, Den Bosch. To be fair, Breda was our last choice. But hear me out. We knew from Eindhoven and Den Bosch there is a highest percentage of wallet they spent on going out for dinner. It was like this back in 2013, and I believe from the numbers from what I've seen of the past year and 3 years, it's still like this now. What do I mean by this? What percentage of the wallet of the local population spends it on going out for dinner? Which then in results will mean you have a permanent deficiency of seating in restaurants. What do I mean by this? On a Wednesday, if you are in Eindhoven, you just go in the city center and you want to go for sushi, how empty is the restaurant? In those cities, the restaurant's gonna be full. Same in Rotterdam, same in Amsterdam. Everyone, when they finish work, they think, where do we go out for food? Where do we meet up for dinner? Whereas certain cities, and that goes back to the culture a little bit, they finish work, they think, what do we cook for dinner? Who's coming over for dinner? So it's a whole different setting regarding what your expenditure is. Because one spent it for going out for food, one spent it on grocery shopping. We're in the hospitality business, so the latter one doesn't benefit us if that's a high percentage. The previous one will benefit us because it doesn't matter if you're the 15th sushi spot in that city, if you know by doing market research that on a Wednesday everyone is full, regardless your product, because I know it's eventually we talk about competition and everything, because obviously the best person will win out. But if you start out, you want to make sure there is enough piece of the pie left for you. There is such a thing as the market is too much saturated. What do I mean with oversaturated? Let's see. In Tilburg eventually, and in Eindhoven as well, but the difference, and that's now the funny thing comes in. In both cities, if you really Google it, there will be like within the radius of, let's say, a kilometer or 800 meters, you'll probably find 20 to 25 spots where you can get sushi, whether it's takeaway or you can eat, a la carte, whatever it may be. It's like between 20 and 25, which is a lot. That means you just walk 500 meters to the left, you find one, another 500 to the right, you find one. But the difference is between Tilburg and Eindhoven. Eindhoven has, like I said, higher percentage of wallet for going out for food. So all of them are doing well. In Tilburg, however, and as you can see, those who live there can attest to this, most locations closed down. Why? It was oversaturated. On paper, they all both have, can you look it up on ChatGPT, by the way, the population Eindhoven at Tilburg? I think it's pretty close. I don't think it's that big of a difference. On paper, they are close, demographic-wise, how many number of population. on paper they're close, but in reality, the one has a higher wallet of, higher percentage of wallets of going out for food, so a limited seating, and the other one does not. That means when you go there Wednesdays, it will be more empty. Certain restaurants will be more empty, and certain restaurants are gonna be full, but not everyone has enough pieces of the pie. That's a little bit of an explanation. What's the difference?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe ChatGPT is wrong, but in Tilburg it says it's around like 200k people.
Yes, it should be.
And
250.
Eindhoven's metropolitan area is 700.
Jesus, really?
But, yeah, I think it counts the villages around it, maybe like Helmond.
That's not possible.
Helmond and...
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's my bad. I thought it was not that big of a difference.
No, I think the actual city of Eindhoven must be less people.
Yeah, because I can imagine that being that big.
Oh, it says in actual Eindhoven it's like 250.
Yeah, see?
So it's only slightly bigger than Tilburg.
Okay, so I wasn't that far off. What was I thinking? Okay, so we eventually came across our flyer, and that's another story for another day why we chose this one. But basically, on paper, everything looked nice. We came out to see the market here. It's a whole search pattern, but let's skip that part. We came out because you want to stake out the location, because things might look well on paper, but on reality, it might turn out different. Think of if you go for room viewing or house hunting. You'll find things on Facebook groups or I don't know, or the platforms, but when you go to the house, you will definitely notice stuff. Whether it may be from the outside front viewpoint or inside, or certain furnitures or certain walls, details that you don't see, you have to be there. But also, more importantly, we want to see how lively it is, and it comes back to through the week. Because I always say, just because our restaurant is full on Saturday doesn't mean nothing. I can't curse on Instagram. Otherwise I would. But if they are full on Tuesday, Wednesday, Mondays, like full, they're probably doing something really, really well. So that's a good measurement. So that's what we went to see. Me and my mom, and like first it was me. So I came out, did a little bit market research through the day. Important, because we're gonna be open. Again, think about your business hour. From the lunch, we knew that already because that's our concept. From the lunch, we're gonna see how busy it is. Rewind to 2014, and those who come here now think, yeah, it's really busy now. At Suikerkist is so full. Grote Markt is popping. Everything is bruisend, as they say in Dutch. But back then, it wasn't at all that busy. Funnier yet, this location where we're in now was empty for 2.5 years. So before we opened and the previous owner, like 2.5, 3 years, it was empty. What does that mean? In people's head, and that's a thing we realized later, and that's a thing we missed in our market research. That's why we do this episode today. We never stopped to ask, and back then you didn't have ChatGPT. You couldn't ask ChatGPT like, hey, what are questions to ask the seller of this location? How long have you been empty? How long hasn't been there like an entrepreneur here, a business? We didn't ask that, but that's a thing we discovered in hindsight.
We actually have on the live stream a person who used to work in the restaurant in Tilburg.
Oh.
So we can also ask them to verify how busy it was or not busy.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Their TikTok handle is like AM. I don't see the full name, so it must be hard to identify,
okay.
But we're sending greetings. Yeah.
Where was I? Yeah, so here, during the day, it was, well, we could see it was a peaceful area. Because that's a thing as well, because we found spots in Eindhoven. One thing was like in a piss corner. I'm like, I don't want to see people pissing in front of my place. In hindsight, funny thing, that spot turned out to be a really good spot. So I should have done more market research. But then I wouldn't be here, but then in Eindhoven. Anyways, so this place seemed to have more potential, but what I realized soon enough in the evenings, those from Breda know when you go this side and this side, the Visserstraat and Visserstraat, Visstraat and Visserstraat, it's basically going out streets. Mind you, back then, both streets were full. Nowadays, it's obviously had a downturn, but before, both streets was like chaos in the night, but this part was kind of quiet because Suikerkids was just started out, and this whole zone, there was not a lot of business, basically no business. And then you had Koramaat and Brussels, who was more like a brasserie and beer cafe. And that's about it. You had some life on the corner of Dependance, but that's about it. But what was attractive about this location, it was big enough. That's good. It's in our minds, in the center, because that's what we do. We go on Google Maps. Another thing, don't always rely on the geographical location of the location. Just because you think it's the city center because it's the center of the map, doesn't mean that's a hot zone for the people of your target audience. That's why we have this episode. It's a thing you have to search for and really understand and ask. I'm way older now than before, like that's like more than 10 years ago. It's more than 10 years ago. So like a decade ago, what I know now, I didn't know then. Back then, I didn't know to go to the most popular spots. So advice I would give any one of you. Let's say, what's a location spot you want to go for holiday?
For a holiday, like in
general, coming summer, whatever maybe.
To Italy, maybe somewhere like
Name a city.
Sicily, so
Sicily.
Palermo maybe.
Palermo, sure. What kind of places? Like islands, right?
Yeah. It's
so you go
islands.
for food, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to know this. Because in Milan, you'll probably not go for cocktails, right? There's a trendy spot. Yeah. So my point being, this is advice because everyone when they go to a location, like a holiday spot, they're like, oh, what are good spots to go? They go on TikTok, hotspot Sicily. You can do that to an extent, obviously. I would do that too. But then you use your own judgment and your own research to see, in your case, Sicily is not like known for their party scene, right?
No.
More the culture. So in that sense, I would go, what's the best pizzeria? But watch a bunch of them and you'll find one common thread. Every account will mention, or one or two. That's the first spot you're gonna land. Literally, you land, you go there. What do we do? And Luna already heard this story multiple times, so she knows what comes next. You ask the waiter or the bartender, you make a talk to these people. How's it going here? How's business? Looks busy. And like, do you work, like, how long do you work here? You work here many shifts, or see? And then you basically garner information, you start to make connection. So you have an insider. And then, here comes a kicker, you ask them, where do you go for dinner? Where do you go for lunch? Because they'll never go to spots that's meant for the tourists, because first of all, usually it's overpriced. Second of all, because it's overpriced doesn't mean it's the best food or drink or service. Third of all, it's just kind of lame for the locals who go to the tourist spots. So you want to know what the actual Sicilian goes for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast, whatever maybe. Because then that's where the locals are. You want to visit where the locals are. So first trending spot, go there, ask the staff member, go to where they go, find out where the locals are. Now the research starts. Because then you're going to go there. You're going to taste culture. Literally, that's what they mean with taste culture. Open your ears, open your eyes, open your talking muscles. Otherwise, people are going to think other things like tonight. This afternoon was so many jokes about how much does it fit in your mouth, but it's fine. Obviously. But, because then you're going to do your actual research and then you see the mannerisms. And then, important point about market research. So many of us, and that's too bad of I think it's a failure of education system. Did you get marketing at school?
No.
Oh, you don't get it at all. Anyways, for our market students or business studies students, international business students, bedrijfskunde students, you'll probably get a course called marketing. In the marketing, you'll find a course of subjects about market research. They will tell you to look at the demographics, the age group, population, like in extension, maybe the occupation, like the biggest companies. I did have books, chapters that talked about this. But they never go in detail as in music taste, clothing style, hairstyle, hobbies. Who do they hang around with? Is it like a bunch gym bros next to each other, or Pilates girls next to each other, or just fashion icons, or people with a lot of dogs, a lot of families? And I know you're gonna say this is just a sample, but the same exercise you did in the first location, you're gonna do in the second location. And this is how you go to the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. And this is what I mean with your market research to taste the culture. This I didn't do when we started. To an extent. But not really. Like I said, I was how old? 26, 27. So I too looked at the paper. Hey, Breda has this many people. This and this street is about clubs. So this area should be a chill zone, kind of a calm belt between those. So it is a traffic spot, high traffic spot for those who go out. I then assumed we're gonna have young people. They're gonna be into cocktails, which we had, because we were one of the first ones to combine sushi and cocktails back in 2013, 14, for the all-you-can-eat. Obviously, you had a la carte restaurants who did that before, but for the all-you-can-eat, we were like very first in Brabant. For sure, we were. So but that was a thing we did because we thought our target audience were gonna be young. They're gonna like to party and then like to drink, so cocktails. Little did we know this place was already a very popular cocktail bar. That was something I also found out later. So I did a lot of assumptions. Here lies my fault in this story. In certain aspects, we were right. Yes, they were young people. Yes, they like cocktails. But no, they don't like change. And that's the thing I had to realize about Breda, because I thought in the geographical lay of things, it's higher to the river. If you put on the map now, you're gonna see Breda, you see the river, it's Dordrecht, Rotterdam. In my mind, they're gonna know the turnkey. So basically means you can dine and then it turns into club in the night. That's a thing, it's still going on in Rotterdam, Amsterdam. It's very normal. You'll be eating and one moment it's darker and the lights dims, music turns up, DJ comes, and then you can just go dance. That's a thing there, and I thought those who know from 2014 or 15 when we did the commercial or advertising, you see restaurant, lounge, club. It's still, I think, on those things, on the chopstick paper. You'll see it. Because in my mind, we could easily transition from dinner to cocktail, and then we'll have from opening hour from 12 to 4. Big mistake. Because this city operates still within the Brabant. Well, this city is not just Brabant. I think Breda for sure has their own culture, so I would just assume Breda. They are very loyal and very resistant to change. But because they're so resistant to change, that means if you're in with them, you're in. If you don't obviously mess up everything and keep on delivering good product and service. So me thinking it's closer to the river, so they are more straight, forward thinking, following a lot of trends. I try to do a lot of things from that perspective. We started to operate things from that perspective. Going back to the story, so we saw the brochure, came out to stake out the place multiple times, didn't do what I told you just now to taste the culture, because I didn't at all. I had no idea. I looked up like who are my competitors. That's obvious. They always do the obvious. Who are my competitors? So I knew who were my competitors. That's another nice tangent to go in. I knew certain competitors, like we had one that was already here, a few 100 meters further. We have one around the corner where Ferry Italian Pizza was. So they had like a big spot. They were just opened half a year-ish. And I think, was there another one? Oh yeah, one big chain, Sumo, that closed down later. But on our minds, just 3, like we could be too much, because we knew Breda isn't that big to fit 4 multiple 100 seating restaurants. But we knew and trusted enough that we could maybe be the 3rd one. Eventually we became the 2nd and so forth. But point being, the only thing we did was a competitor analysis. On that tangent, one thing we is to preempt certain openings. It could be another subject, I don't know, we have to see the viewers and what you guys think. Because at one point when we were already open, we knew another competitor was gonna enter. And for them it was, a thing they always did was like a ladies' night. It was a thing they always did, like a ladies' night, you can discount, there's music, there's DJ. They're like, okay, you're a new entrant, because we heard through the grapevine someone new is gonna open. Sure, before you come here, we're gonna do the ladies' night as well. Before you come here, then we're the only ones who do ladies' night, and then we already introduce this concept to the public. Another thing we talked about last episode about the lunch, we already established ourselves as the most, in that sense, affordable lunch with the €10.45 lunch. At one point it was €10 something.
Damn.
Yes. So the playoff spot was filled with high schoolers. So we were the talk of the town. And obviously if you're new and you're gonna open, they might try, but remember what I said, they're very resistant to change and loyal. So we already captured their hearts. Because for us, service really high, make sure the taste is good, product's good. We want to keep them, but once they're in, they're in. So that's something we did to protect ourselves. So you basically preempt your competitors. It's another topic. But point being, when you extend, always be there where the action is and the locals are. I do this all the time. Let's say my interest is Amsterdam, and my product is cocktails and sushi or Japanese cuisine. Guess what I'm gonna do for the coming 2 years or 1 year? Only visit these restaurants or rooftop bar, cocktail bars, talk to all the staff members. I'll be the annoying person to interview every single person. And Luna knows.
Yeah, can confirm.
Why do we do this? It's literally, for me, market research. I want to know where you go. I want to know what you guys chill out. I want to know what you guys meet with your friends. I want to know what you think is the best cocktail bar. Why? Because you guys are the locals. You live there. Your friends are from there. You chill there. You're not just a one-day visitor from like Arnhem, or a tourist that just happens to drop by Amsterdam as a layover. No, you live there. You probably study there. You work there. You have your friends, your family there. So I would like to know where you go, because you are literally my target audience. Now that's another thing, to refine your target audience, and we talked about a little bit. For us, it was not just young people. Eventually, you're gonna refine. Very important note. Just because you think you had that on paper, because anyone that's gonna ask a financing from a bank, they're gonna ask you to hand in a business plan. If it's a big sum, I don't know, but most banks will. But in the business plan, you will have to lay out your target audience. back then in my younger days, it was very superficial. I'm gonna say young people that go out, students, 18 between 27, male and female. You know, it's gonna be very generic, nothing specific at all. Eventually, and that's what I mean with listening to your customers and observing, because you're gonna see them day in and day out, right? When you're here every day, you're gonna see day in, day out who you people are. And maybe you had a nice conception of a certain target audience, but your product offering might be in such a way that it speaks to another set of audience you never thought about. Don't be this stubborn person that's be like, oh, I just want to have yoga girls come here that do Pilates and meditate 5 times a week. Don't be like that person. I know if you're Lululemon, you wanted to target these kind of housewives in New York, whatever it may be. But if you see your product offerings attracting a certain target audience, don't be this stubborn. Because they are the people that help you basically keep the lights on. Because that's the bulk of people that come. I always say there is in anything and everything, even in content creation, there is your bread and butter. You can get another one if you want.
Sure, I'll get another one.
There is your bread and butter that keeps the lights on, like the heating on, brings the food to the table, your sustenance, keeping you alive basically as a business or a brand, the bread and butter. Obviously, there is a lot of nice to haves, like the luxury or the nice add-ons, but your focus point should be those who support you the most and bringing the funds and resources the most and support you all the time. And then what you do, not only do you observe, but you're gonna listen to what they say, but also, and that's where the data come in, because everything until now is very soft-spoken and very intuitive. These days you guys have ChatGPT, there's obviously a lot of data, you can now just ask it and analyze it for you. But then again, there is also observation of what they really like or don't like. So for sure, do not be afraid or hesitant not to ask or have opportunities for them to give feedback. During this decade, and we're closing in a decade here, we did a lot of live streams. We did a lot of reacting to comments. We did a lot of, and that's another point, and that's a nice market research. Remember I told you guys to see what's the most trending spot in that location. So let's say in Tilburg, I want to open today, right, this year or coming year. I would hit up the Instagram page, yes, the Instagram page or the TikTok page of Polymagu, Studio, Talk. There might be new ones that I don't know of, but these are like very pillar Tilburg locations. And I see on the spot that they are tagged in. So not the post, the reel, but the places they are tagged in. We're gonna scroll down the content, and now I know the inner stalker of Luna comes out. Am I hitting your territory a little bit?
What?
We're talking about stalking people on Instagram.
Oh, that's my topic.
So you're gonna see the tagged version, the tagged section, and scroll down to see who are the people that go there. What do I mean by this? If these restaurants or locations, so it can be not the restaurant you want to be, open a barbershop, applies the same. Bakery, same thing. Tattoo shop, same thing. You go to the most, how do you say, like really rooted companies, businesses of that city or culture or neighborhood, go to their tagged section or location tagged section. You can search location and then that spot. Look who's going there. It's gonna be already kind of a little research on who are your target audience. Do a little bit clicking on those profiles. It's gonna be feel free now, you can stalk. If it's an open profile, you can see like what are they about, and then basically you're gonna do this exercise multiple times. Multiple locations, multiple accounts, write things down, It could be little things like, hey, I noticed these people wear red a lot. Or the feet is really red tone-ish. Little things like this. Or, hey, I noticed there are like a huge population of corgi owners. I know it's like very trivial, but it's an important insight.
I know that, basically, I'm from Lithuania, and in the center of Vilnius, there's like always on one street you see specifically like a lot of people with like this breed of a skinny dog that's like that doesn't have hair, which is like super random, but they all have that dog for some reason. So yeah, that's
So
true
let's
what you
say
said,
you have
yeah.
an open terrace and
Everyone's
you
gonna
make
come, yeah, with
napkins
those
or
dogs.
dog bowls and you have a sticker of that kind of dog in there, guess who's they're gonna sit in the terrace? Your spot.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, how do they know? But you did your stalking. So what do I mean by this? Just the target. So I too made this mistake. I'm like openly saying and like not ashamed of it because I didn't know better. I just assumed, hey, we're gonna go on Wikipedia, go on Google, search these things. And back then there's way less information. People are way less online than now. So nowadays you guys have it way easier. So in steps, go to the most trending or the most rooted businesses in that area. Ask the staff members where they hang out. Go there, do the same exercise, repeat this 10 times, then go to the Instagram pages. Obviously, look at businesses that you aim to aspire. It doesn't mean you have to copy paste them, no. But you are in the same niche or industry. So they are already successful. Doesn't mean you have to take their audience members, no. You just have to get the word out. And you have to start from somewhere. Because we talked about the last episode how you set yourself apart with your product offering and service and whatsoever. But now you get a good grasp. Who are these people? What do they wear? What do they listen? How do I know what do they listen? Easy. People will post carousels, reels, choose songs. You'll find a common theme of music selection where they go to as parties. In Breda, it's very much techno based. So if I'm a club owner or like a turnkey cafe owner, I know if I do anything techno, it's gonna be successful. Or what's another thing? What they play a lot. Well, it's very much if your festival you're gonna do techno, you're gonna be good. As you can see, anything in Breda, techno succeeds. Well, if that fits your mold, you do it, right? But you observe colors, music, pets, friends groups, hobbies. You'd get the idea. It's never just female between 18 and 25, students, lives within this area code. No. It's very specific, and you can have multiple target audiences, but as long as you know your main core group, then you know how to reach them. Well, at least identify them. Coming back to new locations, another thing we do, and that's a thing you can do it way more than now than before. One thing we used to do is boosting our Instagram posts and Facebook posts. We know there is a lot of traffic from other cities to this city. So it's one purpose is raising awareness for the. Did you find out the word? What is the word when you travel between cities?
You were actually right. It's inland.
Inland tourism. So if you know there's a lot of inland tourism into your city, obviously it's smart to target these people from different cities. Because our ad will be way more nice if you're like, hey, dagje Breda, these are the sushi spots. These are to do stuff. And you're gonna list yourself in there, obviously. But another thing what we do, it's a thing called priming. We basically boost in certain interest cities for us. Let's say I'm curious to expand again. I'm gonna look at Eindhoven, Utrecht, Rotterdam, Amsterdam. Let's say these are the 4. I'm gonna, for a half-year period, also boost that in these cities. What do I mean by this? We're gonna then in hindsight, analyze which cities had the best conversion and engagement rate. From there is something you're offering that target audience likes or dislikes. You'll definitely see differences. I guarantee you'll see differences between age groups, genders, interests, engagements, or no engagement, because that's also another information. So let's say from the 4, there is one city we have the best engagement, then maybe you should push that to the top of your list for extension as another location. Why? People already respond to you, to your material. That's already one thing you can do before you did any physical. Obviously, that element is important. In-person market research, very crucial. This part, and we are an existing company, but if you, let's say, you're a t-shirt company and you have a little bit budget for boosting and marketing, promoting, so t-shirts are wrong example because that can be sold off, or like, well, you can do that for different segmentations. So in that sense, you can prime before any sales, like a pre-sale. Let's say, hey, we're gonna drop a pre-sale. Sign up for our newsletter, sign up for our email list. When we do the drop, you can get the notification, be the first in line, get a discount, or whatever it may be. Spring did that a long time. A lot of companies did that a long time. That's another way. So you do this through a digital way. So you have the physical, digital, you can prime. But another thing, so we talked about the analysis, analytics, and the engagement. Another thing might be, you just think, and that's the instinct, your product offering really fits the pattern of spending behavior of that group of people in that city. This is regardless any promotion or physical research. You just basically are gonna boost or advertise your best stuff there. And they're just gonna see, let's say it's us, they're just gonna see sushi, cocktail, geisha, sushi, cocktail, geisha, sushi, cocktail, geisha. People gonna see it. If they rock with it, they will like it, save it, share it, whatever it may be, that doesn't matter. Another element of priming is familiarity. So guess what's gonna happen? Like we did this when we went to Tilburg for Breda as well. Guess what's gonna happen when we now open? You are not nobody. People gonna assume, because let's say they see Luna eating in this new location, this city, and Luna lives there, and Luna's friends see her. She said Geisha Lounge, but I've seen it somewhere. Where do I? But I know it. You know, there is already a familiarity. You don't start from zero. No. You come already with some. You come already as a faint acquaintance, like a low-key acquaintance. You already 1-0 ahead of someone that did no priming at all. See what I mean? So that's a tactic you can use, and I think is really effective. Another one, and that's for the bigger companies, and I don't think that's relevant for a target audience, but I just mentioned for the sake of the clip. People use pilot cities. In Netherlands, it's Utrecht and Eindhoven. What does that mean? These cities are most representative of the population of the Netherlands market. I know it's very much condensed and generalized, because obviously every city has their own culture and people. But if you're from the US, like Baskin & Robbins, Five Guys, Taco Bell, you need somewhere to start. They're not gonna maybe try and do whatever, they're just gonna launch this stuff. They have enough budget to have it fail but also succeed. They use something like a pilot city. Likewise, products use pilot shops, flagship shops. Good example. When Wagamama started out, it was in the train stations through London. The London train station company was kind of their flagship. So then they opened store in every, once they see it succeed, they open store in every train stop location, and so forth and so forth. Same with a pilot city. If they see Utrecht or Eindhoven succeed, either or, they'll obviously open more, and some companies did. And some company, none of us really knew they were even in the Netherlands. So they will do something like a pilot city just to see how people respond to your product offering. A good example is Sushi Samba, although I don't think it's the product offering. It has maybe to do with circumstances because COVID hit 1 year after they opened, I think. So they had to close. But otherwise, we might have had a Sushi Samba here in Amsterdam, which is a very, very good business, good product. So they will do something like a pilot city. Another thing people do, and we do that too. We are actually used a lot as a flagship, like a pilot store. So you have new brands. Think of the Tequila 818. Nobody in Brabant adopted it. We did. So they can see how will it do in this area. We're gonna give exposure. They're gonna see from our numbers how it's going. So they have already a place to do their market research before they put in. Because why is this so important? If you have bigger conglomerates and have a bigger budget, you're gonna want to know where to push really the product forward. But that can be only known, like I said, if you already did some research. It could be a real life example and then you put it already in the store, see how the people engage with it or don't. See how the sales numbers are. For your statistics, you will definitely get the numbers if there was sales or conversion. There's a thing you can do. So we went on and on and on about if you want to extend. Now, if you didn't, and I kind of mentioned if you didn't have a business. So if you didn't have a business and you want to start out from scratch, and I got the example question already from Luna, but I'm gonna dive into it now because it's a good time. Let's say you don't have money. You don't have funding. You have only your time and your specific skill and time, your specific skill, specific product and time for exchange, but no money, no resources, no team yet, but you do what you do really good. Let's say you are very passionate, self-taught tattoo artist. A thing you can do, see locations that, and how do you find out? Well, ask people, where do you get your tattoo, stalk their Instagram, are these my target audience, this kind of stuff we're gonna do, I'm gonna do. Go there, talk with the owner or the employees, find out if they're even renting out their spaces. This is how you already get in. You can even exchange with commission in a sense of, hey, I don't have money to rent or buy in a piece of the business, but I do have my skill and I am pretty convinced that I get people, then I'll give you 15% for the first year or 2 years, depending on the economics of the business, of my business. So in that sense, I get my foot in the door. Everything is foot in the door. Teddy just asked me before she went, well, how do you do this for the restaurants? Easy. You just come to the spot. Obviously, there will be a trial period. People are not just gonna give shares for no reason. Best thing is obviously work for the person. That's a thing too. 1 or 2 years, work for them. So basically, show your worth. Demonstrate your skill set. But another thing, because you frequent a certain location, let's say, for us Tilburg, good example. My dad and my mom worked many years there. I worked a few years there at the first location. So we are definitely familiar with the target audience, the location. We knew in and out of the building we were in, the guests that came here, even the staff members they had. For us, when we started out, it was obvious to buy a piece from them first. And that's what we did. Albeit it was 50%, and eventually there were circumstances when we had to buy the 100%. But if you didn't have much money, you could work 1 or 2 years for that restaurant, for instance. Or you talk as a customer often with the owner, and you just pitch. Like, hey, you're looking for to sell the business or a little bit a part of it, like you maybe want to phase out, and you know this because you talk to the owner, you see they are older and they don't have a son or a daughter to inherit the business, or maybe they don't want to inherit the business. Maybe they don't have nobody to take over the business. Then you're like the knight in the shining armor coming in, and you can start working for them and maybe owe the shares, so you don't have the money to buy in the share, but you can exchange this by your work capital and how much revenue you make them. And then later, when you save up, you can little by little take more shares. Because you did your research, they want to phase out, then you can phase in. And this is how you usually get started. You prove your worth, demonstrate you can do what you do really well. It could be, let's say you are the perfect person and you really understand hair culture. It's just gonna, like, you make the perfect hair content. Perfect. Then it's a really easy way to get in as well for businesses that are on a downturn. Let's say local barbershops on a downturn. They have zero presence on marketing or media. We're gonna have a different talk on that. And there's a lot of them. And you come in showing your account, obviously, because you create your account, your content about hair. You can say, hey, how about if you're looking to be open to this proposal, give me 10%. What I'm in exchange gonna do for you, take over everything marketing, media related. And you just make content for that shop. Because you know what you're doing, I'm pretty sure if you take on the shop will do better. Because you'll get way more exposure, and then in that sense, more awareness, then conversion, then more revenue. Before you know it, business popping, and maybe you want to open next door. What do we say with these examples? Basically, you add way more than you think, and just because you don't have enough savings, but you do have a certain skill set, or a drive or ambition to do certain thing, you can get in the business. That's another way to get in the market or the business or niche you want to get in. Now a subject which is really tough as well, like let's say e-commerce. That's tough because then you don't have a physical location to have your data. You can't really sample in those stores or businesses like a bakery or a flower shop. There's no way. In that sense, it's really important, and we talked about this, and I'll just not really dive in anymore, but last episode. The target audience, then the specification of the target audience is more important than ever. Another component is your core community group. Know your avatar, know who they are. I would go to the extent of even finding them already, have them as ambassadors, and then maybe promote. Not the other way around. Your market research gotta be really finding the influencer, like literally people with influence within your target audience in your niche that have pull already, so have eyeballs, for them to try your products. And they will be then in extension the core audience, target audience for your business. That's a very important part to research. Because now you don't have a physical location to research or a building to inspect. None of that. So in that sense, it's very important to narrow at least the target audience down, like kind of your tastemakers, if you will. Find them, identify them, get to know them. If possible, befriend them. If possible, give them a little share. I would go to that extent because I think they will make or break your product. Obviously, you can do everything on your own. And preferably, you're the person to do it. So that's why you always see people that are already tastemakers, or let's say they're the local skateboard boy that's very popular and trending on TikTok. Obviously, if you're gonna open a skateboard web shop, I think it's gonna work because you already have eyeballs, you already have some awareness and exposure, and then the conversion will come, and then people just know, hey, this person sells skateboard now. But then this is an easy 1 + 1 is 2. But if you don't have that, you just only have a cool skateboard, yeah, it's gonna be tough. Then in that sense, I would invest your time really in who are my tastemakers, who are my influencers. In that sense, have a deal with them, how they also can, how you add value to them. Because they are the make or break people for you. But in that sense, don't trust everyone. Because some people really do know their position and they might give you a bad deal. So don't always blindly go into every single deal. Then in that sense, think for yourself what's reasonable, what's operational, manageable, and affordable. Because if you don't really do in that sense your research, people will screw you over sometimes. Don't just believe everyone is out there to help me. No, not everyone is. Usually everyone is out there to help themselves. With that in mind, you have to think, what can I do to most help that person, while also that I don't suffer from it. So you give a little bit more, you give the 51%, that other one 49%, if that makes sense. You give a little bit more, because you're the one that needs them. Coming back to the market research, to summarize, be there now. Well, first you do your online research, then you do your AI research, get your analysis on, get your deep research on, use DeepSeek, I don't care, Gemini, whatever it may be, Grok, what's Twitter saying about this product in New York City or Manhattan or whatever it may be. Visit the first or 2 places, inquire about places they want to go, taste the culture, so the people that go there. It's a little bit tougher if it's like a bakery, because it's gonna be awkward if you're there for more than 15 minutes. But then be obvious, like, hey, I'm a avid cookie baker, I'm curious if I can open a cookie shop here. Do you guys actually sell a lot of cookies? Be honest. Some people would obviously don't go off an opinion of one person, but that's why we go the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Most employees really don't care that much to give away the information, though they will tell you. Like, hey, we don't sell cookies at all, so. Or this is our most sold cookie. But then you got valuable information. You don't even have to mention you're starting our business. You're like, hey, do you guys like sell a lot of cookies here by any chance? They're like, oh yeah, the Oreo cookie, whatever. Then you're like, aha. Is it like a hot topic? Do you always sell out every day? Right? There are certain questions you can prompt them, tell them, ask them, and you're gonna gain information. So you're gonna gather information. Then further research your target audience from the Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn, Facebook, depending on the location, because some have a very big Facebook following. See who are engaging with their content. Have a little bit of a data collection on these people. And then you eventually have to pull the trigger. And that's the final point. Eventually you should have enough trust and belief in your product or skill or service. You have to pull the trigger. And we will not always 100% succeed. No way. But if you never try, you will never know. But you have to try. Eventually you have, because you can do only so much research. There are limitations. We can only prepare so much. It's like a final exam. They tell you to prepare everything you learned in the past 4 years, like those who are gonna do this in May, the CITO, this schoolexamen, centraal examen. But you have to do the exam to know what the question is gonna be, what the challenge is gonna be. You can only prepare so much. Eventually, you have to trust your believe in yourself, your product, your offering, your skill, to know you will thrive. And if you didn't, that's fine too, because that's life. Not everything is how we dreamt about it could be. And again, we're not setting stone. Meaning, you have to be agile, change, listen, observe, engage, adapt, change to, and try it out. People are forgiving in that sense if you communicate everything well, within reason, and you change your offering, product offering, or service offering. They are understandable, but be communicative. Don't be like one day to another, like, oh, we're gonna sell spaghetti now. Won't make sense. But if we now add more ramen, we start off slow, right? We add one bowl of ramen. See if that sells. If you see it sells, add more. If it didn't, sure, no foul play, throw it out, we try something new. And this is how you should approach it. Nothing is set in stone. So that kind of, how long have I been speaking? It's been a long time.
A bit more than an hour.
Okay, cool. Let's go into the questions. Do we have any?
On the live stream, no.
I mean, you wrote down a few things.
I have a question. So, when would you stop researching?
That's what I mean. Eventually, you know, you've done everything, right? You tasted the culture, you've tried every product, you've been to the shops, and you get a solid grasp of what the people are, the target audience, the people you're gonna sell to. Basically, if you can, that's a good one. Note this down. If you can text to image prompt Mid-Journey or any image generator, your ideal target person, and it comes out as you think it will, you've done enough. Because you know how specific you have to be in those programs, in those tools. Very specific. So if that generation, the generated image or person or video, is what you can have video. If that person is kind of, yeah, I see that person coming through my shop or future shop or buy my future product, then you've done a good job. If not, and it's just very random generation every single time, I would do a little bit more research. That's what I came up with, actually, just now.
Okay, so is the research ongoing thing, or it's basically does it change over time, or it's something that never changes?
It's an ongoing thing. You never stop. Like I said, you listen to your customers. The trends change, people behavior change, taste change, culture change, economy change, everything changes, products change, pricing changes. So you have to go with the times, but also about the offering and service of products. There are obviously stuff that is your USP, your unique selling points, your core products, your strengths. Know what they are, triple down on them. So you can extend, but don't be the person that changes the menu for the sake of changing the menu. If it's working, it's working. I know so many places, they offer the same thing after 15 years. The menu didn't change at all. It's the same. They are still busy to the day of today because they keep on selling what they sold before at the same way, presented the same way, served the same way. And so, yes, you can extend and adapt dependent on the culture. And obviously, try it out. If it's not working, don't be agile enough to just change it. Throw it off. I remember we didn't want to try soju. And the first 2 months we didn't sell any because I took soju in. And then eventually started selling and I'm like, oh, okay. Then I added more soju flavors. But if it didn't sell, I would just toss it out. And the same with food, cocktails. I have tossed out certain categories. So yeah, it's an ongoing thing for sure.
Yes, and how would you validate your research? Do you know like anything, like any information that gives it off to you like, oh yeah, that research was valid. Like, I know
Okay,
that
so
it
given
worked.
your research, you have certain attributes and characteristics of your target audience and market. In that sense, human knowledge, engage with people. Hey, what do you think of this? Is it true that they say blah 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 blah, fill in the gap? Or is it true that you always go there for the fries? Is that the best fries of Breda, let's say? Or do you always go there and there for cocktails? So confirm it with other people, random people. Don't be afraid to ask. And obviously there's a lot of things online. See like if there's a blogs or even more TikToks about it, or a lot of tags. If you can see a location, bakery, and there's 50 tags, 50,000 I mean, it must be good, right? Because no way there is 50,000 check-ins or tags. So these are the metrics you can use, but also use your common sense, talk with people.
Which one is more important? Would you say instinct or data?
Both, like I mentioned before. That's basically when you know, hey, shoot a shot, get it started. There's only so many data you can collect. It has to end somewhere, somehow. Because you have to start. That's the most important thing. You have to start. It can only help you so much, the data.
Okay, I think that is all of the questions. I don't see any coming in from the people.
For yourself, if you want to launch your game.
It actually has been a long talk. I think a lot has been covered. Is there anything you would like to add yourself?
No. Not if you don't have questions. But basically, next week we're gonna talk about, I remember, was it marketing and branding? If we're gonna either talk about marketing and branding and maybe like another, or team building, basically how to craft your best team around you. We're very curious for your input, if you can change this format, or because obviously we have this is an ongoing thing. We're gonna do this Wednesdays, but maybe you're like, hey, invite a guest, or I don't know, have us ask like questions when we have more viewers throughout the video. Could be, because it's like more a monologue, which is fine, because I didn't want to make this like a kind of a blueprint or a manifesto kind of for us to leave it behind. Since now it's still fresh, it's gonna be different if we look back in 15 years. So yeah, let us know if you wanna add more questions. We're open to answer them online as well, so you'll still partake with the giveaway for the best question. And stay tuned on our Instagram, TikTok. For sure, share this if you will, and follow for more content like this. Peace.